Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Mindshift. Pardon that. Welcome to Monday Mindshift. I'm Sean Michael, the inner potential activator slash identity disruptor. And our topic today is about presence and, well, let me get that better. Sorry, I wasn't well prepared. Presence as rebellion. There it is. I couldn't remember it. Slowing down in a world addicted to speed. Sometimes we just need to slow down, right? So I want to welcome everybody who might be joining. Shows that I've got some viewers, but I know the system doesn't always report accurately. Anyway, thank you for joining. Whether you're here on live or on the replay, you're much appreciated. I'll be flying solo today because my co-host, her whole family is sick with some kind of virus. So I'm wishing her get well soon, and hopefully she'll be back with us soon because she really does brighten up the conversation. So that means I've prepared my presentation, my talking points better this time, because I think this is such an important topic to talk about. But it also means at about half past the hour, probably, we'll see, I'll be opening the stage to others to join and share your thoughts, your ideas. But meanwhile, love to hear from you in the comments. It lets me know you're here, what you're hearing, what you're catching. It makes makes everything lively. This is not the Sean Show by any stretch. I want to share what things I've learned, but I like interacting with you guys as well. Good morning, Pete. All right. I have a question. Have you ever seen a hummingbird at rest? The truth is, most people haven't, because the only time we notice them is when they're flapping fast and frantic, fighting gravity so they can hover in place, right? Good morning, Liana and Dislike Counter and Pinker Flamingo. Meryl, thank you, thank you. Great to see everybody joining. So we haven't usually seen a hummingbird at rest, right? They're usually flapping frantically, trying to stay aloft. But every once in a while, if you're still enough, you might catch one perched, silent, watching, completely still. In that moment, it's not doing anything to prove it's alive. It's just being. And it's more powerful in that moment than any other point of its life. Now, most of us are living our life in this way, right? Always moving, flapping our wings, trying to stay afloat, trying to stay aloft, always proving. But my question is, what if the real strength, the real strategy is standing in the perch? This isn't so easy because we live in a world that doesn't reward presence, but that's what makes it even more powerful, right? In leadership, presence sometimes is mistaken as passivity, right? In leaders, we want decisiveness, fast pivots, 10x. But how often do we ask for discernment? Right? Discernment takes time. You have to slow down and look at everything. In a society that profits from your self-doubt, liking yourself is a rebellious act. This is from Carolyn Caldwell. I think it's a powerful, powerful quote. the world, our society there's profit in us doubting ourselves and taking a moment to just like myself is actually a bit rebellious. Daniel, thank you. Welcome, welcome. I want to frame it in a different way. Presence isn't an activity. It's an intentionality, right? It's choosing to respond rather than react. Now, I'm going to share something and I want to hear comments. Like, is this something new? Have you heard this before? Let me know in the comments. What if I tell you hustle culture is just nervous system trauma with a pretty face? This constant urgency, it mimics exactly what happens in our bodies when we're in a fight or flight state. It puts us into a physiological loop, right? Have you ever been in that state where you can't think straight, like your body's on fire, you're shaking, your heart's racing? Tufail, thank you for joining from all the way from Bangladesh. So we got a lot in the US. I'm down in Guatemala. We've got Bangladesh. I don't know where everybody else is. So, really smart guy, Stephen Porges, he presented what's called the polyvagal theory. And he says that safety leads to connection, but stress brings us to reactivity. And a lot of people who are high achievers, high performers, we connect worth and motion, right? We think that a pause is like lazy. Pause is devalues you in some way. But that couldn't be further from the truth. But the problem is we've installed this belief. So here's something to say to yourself to help uninstall that. Because just like the programs on your phone or the programs in your computer, whatever's you've installed here, it can be uninstalled. So say this: if I'm scared of stillness, it's probably because it would make me listen to what my hustle was drowning out. Let me repeat that. If I'm scared of stillness, it's probably because it would make me listen to what my hustle was drowning out. And I realized I didn't fix that. So let me fix that as I go. So you have that. Let's see. If I'm scared, let's see. There we go. If I'm scared of stillness, it's probably because it would make me listen. Whoops, I still didn't get it. Anyway, you get the point. Pete, a lot of us are hustling, right? We've installed that belief. That's what we're told, like hustle, 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 hustle. Like you go to work and it's like do more, do more, do more, do more in less time. But it's important to practice presence, to not be afraid of the stillness. My third point: often that hustle, that speed, that constant movement to our nervous system, it feels safer than sitting still, because it hides the truth. We don't have to face the parts of us that we don't like, sometimes called the shadow side, right? Miss Melanie, thank you for joining. The speed, this movement, the hustle, the grind, it's a drug. It's a numbing mechanism. If I'm busy hustling, I don't have to deal with my my stuff, what's underneath, the things that I don't want to face. But the reality is, let me ask you this. If you stopped moving, Adrian, I hope I said that right. Welcome. So my question, if you stopped moving, you can ask yourself, if I stopped moving, what emotion would catch up with you? Right? Think of it this way. The stillness doesn't cause the discomfort. It just lets us see what's been waiting to be heard. Right? Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, in a wonderful book, The Body Keeps the Score, profound work of how all of this stuff is trapped in our body, right? All the emotions that we've never dealt with, all the trauma, whatever, it's trapped in our body. It's just waiting to get out. But we're rushing along like the hummingbird, and yeah, Pinker, exactly. Like a shark, we feel like we've got to keep moving or we'll drown and die. We won't. We will have to face some demons, our own demons. But, like in some great movies where the person faced themselves and survived and actually came out stronger. But Dr. van der Kolk, he shares that overactivity is just a trauma response. We call it productivity. It looks good. Bosses love it. Working overtime, working through, a working lunch. It looks good. It generates income for the company. So yeah, they want it. But it's just our own trauma response. It's something from our past that we haven't dealt with. My next point, make sure I got all my... Okay, yeah, I'm on track. Slowness clarifies, speed complicates. Most of us know, we've seen this. Most bad decisions happen under pressure in a rush. Most breakthroughs happen in silence, in stillness. Creativity, vision, leadership instinct. You can't create these in panic. It's not going to happen. Harvard Business Review did a study in 2022, and I'm going to share that on screen, that said slower, more reflective leaders make higher quality decisions and retain team trust longer. So whether you're in a leadership position, you're still a leader. Titles don't make you a leader. I think we've talked about that. If you have any influence on anyone, you have the potential to be a leader. And Suniti and I talked about this, self-leadership, right? You want to have a certain life. You want to get away from the negative parts of your life. It takes self-leadership. So to be a better leader, of ourselves or others, we need to slow down so that we can make good decisions. This is where presence becomes rebellion. In this world where it's like harder, faster, grind, hustle, all of it, presence is the disruptor. It's where we interrupt that external validation loop. Because when we slow down and detach from needing those performance hits, that dopamine, the good job, thanks for the hard work, all very good. But when we're holding on to that, that's the only thing that's driving us, that's not healthy. Right? When we practice presence and disrupt that loop, the leadership starts coming from internal congruence instead of the external validation, the applause. Right? I wrote about this on Substack. I learned that lesson, like, applause, they like you, you're accepted, yay. But then what happens when somebody doesn't like you and they don't applaud? Or worse, they boo. Your world comes crashing down. That's no way to live. I lived that and I don't want to do it anymore. I'm learning to hold the space inside, to operate from alignment, to let go. I still like compliments. Who doesn't? Presence reclaims authority. Then you can stop performing and start embodying who you want to be. Whether it's leadership or just the person we want to be, right? You got to stop moving. You got to face the enemy within. Here's another reality. Calm is contagious, just like chaos. If your leader is grounded, notice the room shifts. Right? Calmness. Lisa, glad to have you. Always can count on Lisa to be here every week. I don't think she's missed a week, maybe one, but calm isn't just for you. It isn't just for me. It's for everybody around us. If you're leading a team, it will affect the team. As a parent, it'll affect your home. Annie, welcome, welcome. Great way to put that, Pete. Embody the person you want to be. Kick out that enemy within who wants performance, who's running away. He wants you to, it's the voice like, just keep running, just keep running. Inner enemy's got hands, Pinker, yes. But it's about outsmarting them, right? It's kind of Aikido. Aikido is not about strength and power. It's about flipping the energy back to your attacker, using their own attack to mirror it back to them. So this works internally too. So probably heard this name, Daniel Goleman. He did a lot of research on emotional intelligence. And he says this: leaders set the emotional tone for the organization through their presence and not just policy. It's important to have policies, but the presence, the calmness. All right. You guys ready for the power move? Choosing to pause is the power move. Even a micro pause, 30 seconds, 1 minute, can change everything from the stimulus to the response. Before your decisions, before your reactions, Viktor Frankl said it perfectly. Between the stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is your power to choose. It just takes a moment to ground, center, pause, reflect, and say, okay, how do I want to react? How do I want to respond? Not react. How do I want to respond? Because that is one of the few things we actually can control. We can't control out here what's happening. I was talking to somebody recently. They said their boss is very, very narcissistic. And with the current economy, they're like, what do? I can't quit. I need the income. So, how do you flip it so that you can maintain your peace? Kenneth, wow, there's a face that doesn't get to come to Monday Mind Shift. Presence as is where we get our clarity. Clarity restores our energy. Energy sustains our progress. What you call burnout might just be purpose starvation, might be misalignment. All right. Here's a question. I'll post it there and here so everybody sees it. When did you learn that slowing down was a risk? I know I learned it. Learned it very young. That got to keep moving. Got to keep moving. Got to keep performing. Got to keep, or you're out. I strove for years for my father's love, his attention, his recognition. Miss Sharon Rose Winfield, thank you for joining us. Right? As we said, or as I said earlier, if we learned it, we can unlearn it. What are you afraid of? Sorry. What are you afraid you'll actually hear if you just got still? If you think about that, then you can prepare for when you do get still and you're ready for it. Right? Because we can take the time and plan. I love the way you put that, Sharon. A dance monkey. Yes. As Gandhi said, Pete, be the change you want to see in the world. Often we equate that quote with like go out and make changes. But what if the change is right here? Change the inner voice, the inner world, and the outer world will change. Yeah. Most of us learned that lesson long, long ago, Pete. And yes, once you learn to practice silence, the pause, that's where you can start. Start with a simple pause. Take a minute before responding. Take a breath, right? Take an extended breath. Take a deep, deep breath in through the nose, an extended exhale. And that can give you that instant pause to kind of refocus, reset, stand on the perch for a moment like the hummingbird, regain your power. All right. We are nearly at half past the hour. So, with that, I am going to open the stage. If anybody wants to come up and share, the mic is open. You do not have to come on video. You can do audio only, whatever you're comfortable with. I know in previous weeks, when I've been solo, I've done audio only, but I decided that today I was going to do video. Nicole, glad you made it. Dr. Marcia, thank you for coming. And yeah, the pause and the breath. Breathing is so critical to our life, but we do it without thinking. But there's a lot of power when we use our breath under our conscious control. You know, with my 7 years old, they get big emotions. They haven't learned how to process those yet. So he and I do breathing exercises to help reset, to take a moment, bring the calm. I think I was sharing last week that over a 1 week period here in Guatemala, there was over 1,000 earthquakes, 1,000 that registered at 4 points or above. We felt 200 to 300 of those in our city. The first one, it's interesting. I grew up in California, so I'd heard about I knew about earthquakes and aftershocks. But here in Guatemala, we had a pre-shock. When I read the news, I was kind of shocked. They said pre-shock, and I'm like, what? Apparently there was a smaller quake, but it was still big. It was about 5 points. And then the big quake that hit at 6.5. It sent my wife into fight or flight. Edge of a panic attack, like a full-on panic attack. And I just calmly said, tell me 5 things you can see. 4 things you can hear. 3 things you can smell. 2 things you feel. 1 thing you can taste. This simple technique, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It doesn't matter what sense, right? You can start with see, smell, taste, hear. It doesn't matter. You choose in the moment. Yeah, it's the only time I've ever felt that many quakes. I grew up in California. I was familiar with quakes. I've been in Guatemala 11 years. We have frequent earthquakes. It's the Ring of Fire. But this was a dormant fault awoke. So it shook a lot. All right. Pete has joined the stream.
Oh, Sean, how are you today?
I'm good, Pete. How are you today?
I am doing good. I tend to just hustle too much sometimes. I get nervous if I slow down. I just like to go out, and take a long drive in my convertible and just look at the road and not think about, any of the bad things I did. So I really don't know, like, how the universe looks, through the lens of the soul. I just want to keep busy. So what you're saying is helpful to me.
Well, even what you just shared, taking a drive where you're just enjoying the drive, that's a practice of presence. You're taking a break. Yeah, you're still going, you're still moving, but that's better than someone who doesn't do that, who just keeps hustle, 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 hustle and never stops for anything or even slows down a little bit.
Oh, it's not an old lady Sunday drive, Sean. This is like me and my Miata going through the canyons,
Oh,
keeping it at 95%.
I feel you. I had a Miata and
Oh, no way.
yeah, I had a I don't remember what year it was, but it was, the premium with the 6-speed
Uh-huh.
transmission and I got really efficient at power shifting and I love to run that thing all out, full out.
Yeah. Yeah. So this isn't a lazy Sunday drive with grandma. This is hot rocking through the canyons.
But it's taking your mind away from the other things. So
Hey,
it's diverting your mind. So it's still a positive thing, even if it's not grandma's Sunday drive. Getting out on the highway and you know driving like a bat out of where.
so a diversion can be as good as just calming down, you're saying.
It's a good first step.
Excellent.
You
Excellent.
know, and like I said, the this calming down is stop for 1 minute while you're smoking a cigarette or whatever. I used to
Right?
do that. I was in building automation programming and I'd
Right.
get locked on a problem trying to solve and it's like I tried this and didn't work, try that and didn't work, try, I can't solve this problem, and the customer is like breathing on my down my neck going, when's it going to fix, like I got surgery starting in 10 minutes. Go out and buy a Coke, light a smoke, take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long it takes to smoke a cigarette, and the brain lights up. Try this. You didn't try that before. Like I solved more problems just taking that few minutes to just forget about my problems and find the solution.
Yes. Well, I don't smoke, so I have to skip that and just go out in the car, I guess.
Yeah. Go out in the car,
We'll
go
race through.
drive somewhere, go race somewhere, drive somewhere you've never driven before. I used to love to
Yeah.
do that. To go like, hey, where does that road go? Is that like another alternate way to get over here? We had more sometimes we get down to the end, we had to turn around and go back.
All right. Well, that sounds too much like a horror movie for me, but I'll go out to the desert with Sasha, race the Miatas, have some fun. All right, Sean, thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Pete. Thanks for joining. That's a good one, Sharon. Smoking is just breath work with a prop. I actually just saw that. And for Anil, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, use your senses, your sight, your sound, your hearing, your smell, your taste, how you're feeling. Doesn't matter the order. But like with my wife, I said, tell me 5 things you can see. She's listed off the 5 things. Okay, now 4 things you can hear. And so she's focusing on hearing. 3 things you can smell. She tells me them, and on down the line. You just do that. Yeah, it's the power of the pause. It's actually a psychological fact that when we stop charging against the wall, that's when we find the door. And when I say the wall, I mean the problem that we're trying to solve, the thing we're trying to do. pushing harder usually doesn't help in my experience. But taking a step back, recentering, brings the presence of mind so that I can find the solution, that I can find the door. Any other questions, comments from anybody? Love hearing for you. Yes, I remember, and I will do anything for love, but I won't do that. Yes. This isn't about shifting, like you wake up tomorrow and say, okay, I'm going to take an hour of meditation practice. It's not going to work. Take 1 minute. Talk about what you see. Well, we moved out of the US because both of my parents did not survive to retire. They were living the traditional path of get married, have kids, go to school, get a job, retire, and then enjoy your life. I lost my father, then my father-in-law, then my mother, all before age 60. And my wife and I sat down and said, this is not going to be our life. So we made a plan that when I turned 45, we were going to pack everything we wanted to take with us, sell everything else, and go south. We initially thought Mexico, but decided against it for various reasons. We actually started in Belize because they speak English. And she told me, she says, I don't want to learn a new language. I said, well, they got this Belize, it's jungle and Caribbean, and they speak English, sort of. So we started out there. Things weren't working out. We visited Guatemala and fell in love. Beautiful spring-like weather, January to December. Wonderful, kind, happy people, and still close enough to the US that, a 6-hour flight and we're home. We're visiting family. So it's very nice. And because it's so close, we have access to all the things we love, like when we first got here, there was peanut butter was a rarity. People would bring back 5 jars when they visited their family. Today, I can find it anywhere. So, and then after being in Guatemala 3 years, my wife got pregnant. And we have a 7-year-old boy now. So that's my story of living abroad. And my family, my friends, they always talk about how much healthier, how much younger we look. That's good food, good life. Having a young child, it helps. All right. So I have a small offer. No obligation, no pitchy. But if you've felt caught up in the noise, the deadlines, the doubt, that damn near constant pressure to perform, but inside you have a quiet voice asking, what if there's another way? There is. I have a few spots on my calendar. I'd love to have a conversation. Let's show you presence, help you find clarity. You can comment, slow down on this post at any time, or send me a DM. Love to have a conversation, get to know you more, and talk about how to be more present in life and how it can shift your life. And I know LinkedIn has a major delay. I don't know how long of a delay, but I do appreciate everybody who's been here, commenting. It makes this worthwhile. The aha moments, that's what I'm here for. Oh, Pinker, it's not an easy process on letting go of past mistakes. It it's a process. It happens moment by moment in those moments of quiet and stillness when we stop running. I was able to learn some techniques through neurolinguistic programming that helped me change the meaning, take the learning, but change the meaning and let go of the burdens. Anil, you're exactly right. The goalposts keep moving, right? I've talked about this with people before. They're like, "Well, what about Social Security?" I said, "Yeah, that keeps getting later and later and later." Because I talk to people from other countries, and they're like, they have a national pension at certain ages, and that theirs works. But I know, like any Social Security I have, it's by the time I reach the age, there's probably not going to be anything left. So I want to build my own retirement system. And I want to be like my one grandfather who lived to be 92 years old, active and mentally sharp until that day he died. I remember he was like 86 and he went to the community college to study geology and take organ lessons. Yeah, it does take a lot of internal courage on it. Like I said, what I've learned though is it's baby steps, right? 1 minute on day one, and then celebrate it. Hey, I had 1 minute of stillness and I didn't die. I'm okay. And then extend it, little by little. When we learned to walk, did we decide to walk 10 steps? No. We took one step and then we took the next step. We kind of Yeah, that's a good one, Pinker. We can say I'll be 40 when I finish college, but if we don't start, I did this argument when we found out my wife was pregnant. I did the math and I'm like, I'm going to be 60 years old when this kid graduates high school. Like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, that's crazy. Like, that was my initial shock, was like, this is insane. Why am I having kids now? at this age. Like, how am I going to do it? I'm scared. But we talked. We gave space to the quiet. And I wouldn't change anything. It's annoying when people say, "Oh, is that your grandson?" And I'm like, "No, that's my kid." But initially it really bothered me. I'm like, "Come on, man, you're making ass- assumptions that I'm gray-haired and I've got a young child. Like, this is the 21st century." It's a little boy, Anil, by the way. And Pinker, on the college thing, I went back to college at 36 to study psychology, counseling, theology, and I don't regret it. And Kenneth, that's awesome that your mom is 93 years old and still trying to tell you what to do. My mom used to say, I'm your mom, I'm your boss forever. Like, you're not getting out of that. God rest her soul. Any other comments? Any other questions? And Julie, by the way, I like the singer and the food, meatloaf. My wife makes a killer meatloaf. Twins at 42, Sharon. Wow. That's crazy. One has been challenging enough. I can't imagine twins. But, having my son has really taught me more about being present. He's a great mirror. Like, when I'm here, but I'm not here because I'm busy in my head, young children are really good about calling that out. Right? Daddy, you're here, but you're not here. All right. I feel kind of lame up here with nothing more to talk about because I covered everything. I even extended my talking points today. Added more when I realized my co-host wouldn't be here. By the way, I don't have the Miata anymore. I have a Ford F-350. Miata would not be a good car here in Guatemala because we have potholes as big as a Miata sometimes. All right. Once again, everybody, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to enjoy this moment here, to share your comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you didn't already know it, on LinkedIn, I just began my newsletter, which is a snapshot of the full newsletter on Substack. So if you want to check that out, I'll be posting on that every week and sharing some great things that I've learned. Have a great day, everyone. As Kenny says, savor the flavor. Take care. Be awesome. Be you.